first time here, if it's your very first time, you are welcome to the space that promotes human connection, spreads positivity to recover humanity. So go on, subscribe to our channel, like the videos, and also share them out so that we can grow this particular family together. Thank you. And for our tribe here, hugs and kisses for you. Thank you so much for your support. In our previous videos, we talked about the 6 types of boundaries and also how to set the boundaries. Sometimes you set boundaries and you wonder why I am still experiencing the same things I experienced before setting boundaries. And so, in this video, we are sharing the signs of poor boundaries. And number 1, oversharing. If you find yourself overly sharing your personal business with people, that's a sign of poor boundaries. Because see, many times such people are trying to seek for validation from the outside instead of the inside. That's when you find yourself offloading a ton of personal things on a stranger or even somebody who is not very close as a friend, but then you're offloading too much and then you leave them puzzled. Have you ever been left puzzled? Has it happened to you before that you find somebody really sharing too much deep stuff and you wonder, is he okay? Is she okay? Recently, I saw a very funny TikTok video talking about friendship allowance. It just cracked my ribs. Literally talking about that some of our friends are supposed to be giving us an allowance because of the things that they get to share with us. They are so deep, they are heavy, and it takes a lot to contain such information. So imagine yourself when you're sharing such with a stranger or somebody who is not very close to you and you find you just oversharing. Definitely that's a sign of a poor boundary. And number 2, feeling overwhelmed in relationships. If this happens to you, that shows that you are not communicating well. It looks like you barely balance your yeses and your nos. Thus you end up being overwhelmed. You find yourself almost at all the events. You find yourself running errands with your friends and you don't want to be with them. You find yourself in places that you don't like at all, eating the food that you don't like, listening to music you don't like. Literally, you find you are stretching yourself because you cannot balance your yes and your no. So that over there is a sign of a poor boundary. And number 3, you feel guilty and anxious all the time. If you still feel the guilt or anxiety after employing any of your boundaries, that's a sign of a poor boundary, because boundaries, remember, are supposed to be setting you free. They're supposed to make you feel free. So if the guilt drops in, that means you didn't process your boundary so well. You have to go back to the drawing board and edit your boundary through very well before you can launch it again. And number 4, inability to make a decision. So you see guys, indecision is a clear sign of poor boundaries. You are struggling to assert yourself. And the moment you cannot make a decision, that means that you will ride on other people's decisions. That's how you end up like a handbag and you get overwhelmed. And number 5, the fear to confront people. That's when you are afraid to confront people that encroach on your boundaries. Remember, you take time to set all these boundaries, but alas, you don't enforce them at all. Instead, you end up ranting on social media. I guess you guys have seen the rants on the social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on WhatsApp statuses. That's not communicating. That's a sign of having poor boundaries. And many do this because they fear to be rejected. I think if you put meaningful value to your boundaries, rejection has no effect on you. I believe so. So let's just drop off the rants on the social media and learn how to confront people and tell them how they should be treating us. And number 6, you easily get bothered by people's comments. You see, when you set boundaries, it's like moving from the mainland to an island. Ideally, whatever happens at the mainland shouldn't be bothering you. For instance, if it rains at the mainland, you shouldn't get wet at the island. You should deeply be convinced about your boundaries, that mere comments do not get to your nerves. That's the purpose of boundaries. And this is our today's quote. It is necessary and even vital to set standards for your life and the people you allow in it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch until the end. And if you haven't subscribed up to now, please go on and subscribe, guys. Go on and subscribe, like the video and share it out so that we can grow this channel together. And I love you all. Let's cheers.